Oh boy, I can't believe we're doing this, but here we go. Donald Trump, the man who said that if he were to become president again, the US would not get involved in any new wars. The guy who said that he was the peace candidate. Donald Trump's 2024 campaign told us that if Kamala Harris were to win, we would have a World War III within a year. They said if Kamala were to be president, we would have nuclear war in the Middle East. They told us that Kamala would get us into new wars, but Trump would not. Here we are on June 21st, just 6 months into his presidency. In a unilateral decision not decided by Congress whatsoever, we bombed a country that did not attack us. Don't forget that. Iran did not attack the United States. They've been going tit for tat with Israel, but Israel was the aggressor. They started this specific conflict. As I'm recording this, I'm just receiving breaking news that Trump just came out and declared that this is all about regime change. What this war really is about is bringing the US into another forever war, where the end goal is to initiate a regime change, which could take years, decades, who knows? I could break down all the specifics of what happened and when it happened, but you probably already heard all the details. All we need to know is that Trump broke his promise. We knew that his promise was full of shit. We knew that he wasn't going to be anti-war because in his first term, he was a warmonger. So Trump made the decision unilaterally without getting input from the Congress, without getting input from, it sounds like, his own White House. He made the decision to bomb 3 nuclear sites in Iranian territory. And I've been seeing online that Republicans are saying, no, Trump definitely had the right to do this. There was a law that was passed early in the 2000s that gives a president a right to bomb a country. However, there's a caveat. This law, I think they're referring to the authorization for use of military force, which was passed just after 9/11. It gives the president the ability to strike another country, but only if that country has already attacked us, if that country has already harmed us in some way. And Iran has not. Iran has not harmed us. They have not attacked us. So that law has no purpose in this conversation whatsoever. We just bombed a country that did not attack us. A country, Iran, that was defending itself against Israel, the aggressor in this conflict. Israel initiated the bombings, and they murdered several Iranian leaders. So Iran responded, defending themselves with bombs, with missiles. So the United States has nothing to do with this, except for the fact that the Israel lobby owns the United States. And Trump will do anything that Netanyahu says, because Trump has accepted several $100 million from the Israel lobby during his political career. He is Israel first, not America first. For the past several weeks, we've been hearing from the White House, from the president himself, that we need to prevent Iran from obtaining, from building, from using nuclear weapons. Of course, that's laughable because we've been hearing that since the early 90s. Oh, they're just a couple weeks away. They're just a couple months away from developing a nuclear weapon 35 years later, and we are still being fed that propaganda. So the initial justification for bombing these nuclear sites was to prevent Iran from continuing to develop whatever nuclear weapons Trump thinks that they have. But as we just learned and heard from President Trump himself, the US getting involved with this conflict between Iran and Israel is not really about nuclear weapons. And it's not really about defending Israel. It's about regime change. It's about getting the US into another war where we're going to spend trillions and end up leaving that region in even more disarray. And look, I could spend some time explaining all the intricacies of the relationships and how complicated these nations are in this region, but you don't need all that nuance to realize that Trump broke his promise. We are getting into a war that we were not involved with a country that did not attack us. The age of the US being the world police should have ended decades ago, but it's obviously still continuing. Every single person should be anti-war, especially in a situation where the country that we are effectively at war with did not attack us. Many lawmakers are calling for the impeachment of Trump, and I think that's the least that should happen, right? I mean, should he be impeached? Yes, because he violated the Constitution. But will it go anywhere? Will he be removed from office if he got impeached? No. There are too many Republican senators, and Democratic senators for that matter, whose campaigns are largely funded by the Israel lobby, by AIPAC. There's a chance he could get impeached in the House, right? You just need a simple majority. But in the Senate, you need a 2/3 majority vote to remove the president. And unfortunately, I don't think we're anywhere near that. We have a couple Democratic senators who I know would likely vote against this. I mean, the first person who I think of is John Fetterman. He came out and he applauded President Trump for bombing Iran. So impeachment won't do anything, right? But I don't think there's anything wrong with like using that sentiment with, telling people, yeah, he should be impeached. We need to continue to say that the president is not above the law, and when he breaks the law, when he violates the Constitution, he should be held accountable, impeached, and removed from office. You can sit here and make an argument that, yeah, we need to prevent Iran from, building and obtaining nuclear weapons, but they didn't have any. Come on. Our national intelligence people have been telling us since March, Iran does not have a nuclear weapon. And if Trump wanted so badly to prevent Iran from building one, he wouldn't have pulled out of the Iran nuclear deal. A deal that was working, by the way. No matter what you hear from MAGA, the Iran nuclear deal was working. But like I said, this has nothing to do with nukes. It has nothing to do with defending our ally Israel. It has all to do with regime change. Another 10, 15, 20-year-long war that's going to shovel trillions of dollars of revenue into the pockets of the military-industrial complex. They are salivating right now at the prospect of going to war with Iran. They are absolute cretins. They are demons. They are a plague on this nation. The corporations and the organizations that profit off of war, we're cooked. We're cooked, dude. This is not going to end well. The best we can hope for is Iran doesn't respond. One of three things could happen. Iran could respond and attack the US and continue to attack Israel. They could sit with their tails tucked between their legs and apologize to the US and stop counterattacking Israel, but that's not going to happen. They were just attacked on their own soil by a foreign country in which they were not engaged in any combat with. The third thing that could happen is Iran joins forces with their closest allies. Iran has mostly burned bridges with its Middle Eastern allies, although, they've got several proxies that could help them out. Looking like globally, North Korea, Russia, China, some major superpowers are allies with Iran. So the third thing that could happen is a third world war. We're going to find out pretty quickly, likely this week, what Iran's response to the US and to Israel's continued bombings and attacks is going to be. Hold on tightly, everyone, because this could get real ugly real quick.